I forgot to do that.
You turn it. It's on the delay on your end. I have to, no, leave that light so the light's better. So you have to.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another beautiful Sunday summer evening here for IVCC's living room, stage, and gallery. Tonight, it's all about the stage. Before we start, we want to remind you that you can watch this on YouTube, of course, after it's broadcast. But if you're one of our YouTube channel subscribers, that means you can comment, you can ask questions and all that stuff. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so that we can get your comments as this broadcast goes along. We've been doing this since, oh boy, I think end of March, beginning of April, every Sunday night. And I've had so many terrific guests, and I have many more to come. Obviously, we've got 600 seats that are empty, and the theater is dark, and the stage lights have not been on since our production of Elf last December. And we're doing the best we can to keep everybody's flag in the air during these uncertain times. So we found this was our way to reach out to the community, involve the community, as well as many people from here that went on to achieve their dreams on Broadway, Chicago, producers, the whole bit, film. So we've had a great lineup. All of those videos are available on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page at IVCC Fine Arts, or the YouTube channel, IVCC Fine Arts on YouTube. But you know that because you're watching us right now. All right. If you have any suggestions for guests, I am always happy to listen to them and get some folks on. Last week we had a terrific show with Carrie, who is a local artist, and that was a very interesting one. So take a look at that. Great Christmas idea, by the way, on that one. All right, we've all seen the musical Gypsy, right? Which was all about, well, Gypsy Rose Lee, who became the stripper, but the story was more about her mother, Mama Rose. And in the theater world, when somebody says, "Oh, there's a Mama Rose with that kid," you take note because you know that she's going to be a dragon lady. And when they say don't work with kids or animals, well, I've done both, but these ladies have worked with kids a whole lot. Tonight's all about stage moms right here in the Valley. These ladies go as far back as Parkside, where their kids run shows together there, on to LP as well as Stage 212. A couple of them have had kids in our shows at IVCC as well, but all together, as the four of them, they go back for a few years here. So I want them to join me right now. I've got Pam Payton, I've got Bonnie Steinberg, I have Sangeeta Patel Allen, and Kathy Przinski. Come on in, ladies. Where are you at? Let's see somebody else's beautiful face besides mine. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Sangeeta. Hi,
Hello, my girls.
Pam.
Hello,
Bonnie.
hello.
My drama mamas.
Drama mamas. This is what I'm told they prefer. Not stage moms, drama mamas. Where's the most drama, ladies? On stage or back?
Back.
Oh, back.
Yeah. Bonnie, you concur with that? Yeah.
And afterwards, yes. True.
I gotta say, sometimes I say the best show is backstage, and you guys have lived it
We have lived it.
time and time and time again.
I don't say lived it, Don. I say survived it.
Drama Mama Survivor. I've done a couple shows in my past that I felt like I wanted a T-shirt that said "I survived," name of show, but for a totally different reason. Well, tell us about your kids. Let's start with Kathy. Kathy,
Hi.
I know you're. Hi.
I know you. Well, Mary Rose Krasinski, who started at Stage 212
Mhm.
and has excelled in her music theater productions all her life. Don, you've invited her to IVCC.
Right, a couple times.
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah.
Stage 212, LP, on to college. So very proud of her and her accomplishments.
Well, as every parent is proud. How about you, Sangeeta? How about your kids? You got.
Lena started at Stage 212 in the children's production of Beauty and the Beast. And then she
Okay.
went on to Parkside to do a couple of the musicals there. And then freshman year, she was in Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Oh, okay.
And so for freshman year for that. And then Jaden got into theater too. And then he
One,
has,
two.
yeah, figured he got one, he got the other.
Yeah.
And then, he actually last year got the lead in in Edwina for the children's production of that. Yeah, he wasn't Edwina, but he was the love interest.
I kind of assumed that.
You never know.
Oh, I got to go back to Sangeeta for just a second here. I want to formally, you may notice she's wearing a crown. That is not a tiara, that is a crown, because she is officially Queen of the Arts here in the Illinois Valley. Congratulations from last, oh, there's your glass from it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so want to point that out. I was pulling for you, kid.
Oh, thank you very much.
Bonnie, you have a daughter. Tell us
I
about her.
have a daughter. She started out at St. Bede when she was in third grade as a munchkin, and Parkside LP. She went to the University of Wisconsin and is excelling there, except when we are Jewish, and when she went to join the Jewish a cappella group, she was denied access. So her musical career has ended.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Yes, but we're very proud. We're very proud.
Of course. Did you
Yeah.
write a firmly worded letter?
They're just not getting a donation. Forget about it.
Oh, jeez.
that's right.
I'm sorry. So she's all right. So she's in Madison then, right?
She's a senior at the University of Madison, of Wisconsin.
Of Wisconsin, online or in person or both? Or-
She's there. She's hopefully watching. Yes, she's
Oh.
there.
You a little worried?
Very worried.
I know.
Yeah. Both my
Well,
kids are back at school, and
Um,
but they're
Scary
smart.
times. Yeah, I know. That's all you can do is hope they're smart.
Absolutely.
All right, Pam,
Yes.
how are you,
Um,
my friend?
I am fantastic, although you bring up that Queen of the Arts thing, Don, you know I'm a little salty about that.
I know because you lost. Pam lost the.
It was an exceptionally close race.
Not
it
in my
fixed?
eyes.
I did lose in the inaugural run of the Queen of the Arts to none other than Deb Torrey. So, I mean, if you have to lose to someone,
That's
I
true.
mean, that's the
That's the
chick
one
you're
you-
gonna lose to.
Did you really expect?
She is the queen, and then she calls me the princess. I think I'm better off as a princess anyway, so we all rather go with that. So getting back
Debbie's
to my
a good-
children.
Debbie's a good friend of mine. So if you're going to, let's say, be a non-winner, she's the one you want to win.
Oh, 100%. She was the queen. There's no doubt about it. But my theater career started much like everything in my life does. I'm thrown into things. Andrew started, my oldest, who's 25, started in 2009 at LP. He got the bug there. And I remember Christine Edelman at the time, she's like, hey, I need someone to do, literally just walked up to me and I need someone to do X, Y, and Z. Will you do it? And I'm like, oh yeah. And so then she's like, well, you'll be here tomorrow, right? And I'm like, oh, there I am. And so now 12 years later, here I am.
And two more
so-
kids going through it.
Right. And then I had Adam. Adam came up and they all started at Parkside Musicals all the way up to 212 musicals through LP musicals, IVCC, not just the musicals, but some of the theater. Andrew was in some of the theater that I know that David wrote. And then Olivia started in 4th grade. She started at 212 doing Horton Hears a Who. And then she also did Gypsy that year with Emily. Yeah, with my niece Emily and Mary Rose. And I have a picture of those two in there, and that was part of the Drama Mama. So yeah, I've been in it and I love it. And I don't think I've ever had one bad time. I mean, obviously there's always the child vomiting, but other than that, I never
Or
went back.
passing out, Pam, or passing out.
Oh, I have that picture in there. We have the past rockers, the pukers, headache.
Yeah. Sprain stuff.
That they don't want to go on stage, like
Oh,
frozen
Oh.
in fear. Like, okay, you're gonna go on stage. This is your cue, and they just freeze.
Freeze.
No,
you
no,
know
no.
what? I had a performance academy for kids down in Peoria for all those years when we had the dinner theater, and I found that a taser worked really well for that. Got 'em right out there.
I'm assuming that's why this camp isn't in operation anymore, Don. That's frowned upon in the Drama Mama group.
Yeah.
So I hear. So I
Excessive
hear.
force.
So, all right. So, we're living in a pandemic right now. Okay, that's totally different. But just during regular flu season, I know what I go through at the college with kids. It's like they're there dancing and singing during rehearsal, and then the next night they're like, "Oh, I got the flu," and then all of a sudden, I start getting phone calls and texts. I'm like, well, I guess we won't have rehearsal tonight. With younger kids, it's even more prevalent, isn't it?
It's not too bad because most of the productions are in the summer. So
Oh, okay.
we don't hit a lot of that, except at Parkside. That's your spring-ish time.
And
the
in
high
LP.
I'm sorry.
And
And
in
LP.
LP. But you think about it, these kids were involved with choir or band. Those were your theater kids.
Right.
I know Abby's health improved when she stopped.
Really?
Yeah.
Happened this year.
Well, I mean, when you think about that, Don, look at the pandemic. What is one of the biggest ways that, Corona is being spread is through singing.
Right.
Oh, I
So
thought it was through stupidity, but go ahead.
that's a side effect. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I have
So-
read the projection of.
Right. So it runs through the theater group. When you get one kid that comes in, you can see it right out of the gate. And that's part of your job as a drama mama is when they walk in, you're like, hey, hello, it's good to see you. We're going to have a great show. And then they're sitting there and they're green and you're like,
Yeah.
you need to go sit over there by yourself and not talk to anybody right now. And I got a sore throat and a fever, but I'll be okay. You're like, no,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah,
talk to
I'll
the lead.
struggle through it. Yeah.
Yeah, don't talk to the lead. Just go sit in the corner.
All right. So, yeah, anybody that we can't replace, I know. All right. Okay, we got the little bit of background on your kids. I want to talk about you folks. Now, any of the four of you, were you active in theater yourself before your kids were interested in it? Anybody? Choir,
Sort of.
cheerleading?
No, I did a little bit of theater in high school.
Okay.
I played Radar O'Reilly, if you can believe that.
I would love to have seen that
Who's that? Wait, who did you
on
play?
MASH.
We did MASH for one of the stage plays, and I was Radar O'Reilly, and I was pissed because I went out for, I was angry because I went out for Hot Lip Houlihan.
You can say pissed. That's
I got Radar. And, when those of you who know me, it was really fun to try and bind this every day was super hard. But I did it because I'm a professional.
Are you ready? Yeah, well, of course.
And then
Are you
I
ready
did.
to all clutch your pearls? I have never seen MASH.
No.
You're not missing anything. It's not one. This is why you haven't seen it. You're not missing anything on that one.
I was
It's
on
a
tour
Google.
when it was popular, and there's a whole couple.
It was
decades.
never popular, Don. It was never popular. Only when I did it.
I-
I did do Grease at 212. My kids got me in Grease.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Pam,
But-
remember when we tried out?
We did, Bonnie and I. We would have been so good. We were robbed, Bonnie. We were robbed. That was clearly a case of nepotism across
Bonnie,
the board.
what did you try out for?
What did we try out for, Pam? I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
They were asking for a sarcastic northerner. I thought it was written for me.
Well, yeah.
What the heck was that show, Bonnie? It was
What
four
was that
best
show?
friends. It
We
was
were
four
with
best friends.
Mary Black. Remember?
It was what?
Remember, it was the two of us and Mary Black, and Mary got in and we didn't.
And we
Wasn't
didn't-
it called the swim? What was it? Something about swim, right?
It wasn't the
Dixie
Club.
Swim Club?
No. Was
No,
it a
it wasn't
bridesmaid?
that.
It was a bridesmaid one. Something always a bridesmaid.
Always bridesmaid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pam, sort of like
Yeah.
you with the crown in Queen of the Arcs. All right.
Full circle of life.
Full circle. That's what we call that. Yes. I'm not able to watch my monitor tonight, so I have no idea. Chad, you'll keep me up to speed on any messages that's coming on. The chat. Oh, there's Kathy's dog. Hello. What's your dog's name?
Cleo.
Cleo. Hi, Cleo.
Oh.
I got to tell you, I read something very funny. I have many friends who are teachers, and I saw something that said it's just not a complete day of online teaching with my first grade class until I see all of their pets. And if they're not there, I mark them absent. So,
Well, in the chair, so she feels like she needs a lap to sit on.
yeah, I know. I'm waiting for our cats to fly through here.
Right.
So far, they've been pretty good. All right. So the oddest thing, as a director for many, many, many years, I've had to ask people to do really bizarre things. That's in the script that this person does this. And I'm like, And a lot of times, I mean, as an adult, I'll just show them the script and say, "Are you okay with this?" If it's a kid and it's involved in something else, like a scene. Well, one comes to mind, Kathy, when Mary Rose played the child murderer in Ruthless that we did at the college, a very cutting edge show for us. There was, let's just call it rough language, and um, a, a scene with the other little girl where they were calling each other names that rhymed, and there was like the worst thing. They didn't say it, but it was obvious what the rhyme was coming. And I remember I went back to the theater and I said, "Okay, before I leave this in, is it okay with you?" And you were like, "Go ahead, go ahead. She knows what that means." And I'm like, "Okay." I have overall found stage moms to be pretty cool about stuff like that. And like Gypsy, both Kathy and Pam, I had to say, "Okay, it's a show about strippers. One's boobs light up, all this other stuff." And you were like, "That's all right."
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and we try at the college. I mean, we do at the college keep our kids very safe and very separate. As the years have gone on, you got to admit things have gotten scarier and scarier out there.
Right.
So we now have implemented this dressing room that's nowhere near the adults, so that kids can change without changing with the adults and all that stuff. I mean, their safety is really paramount to us as well
Yeah,
as
we had that for Gypsy. You had that because I remember, and I have a picture of it because the shows were late and Olivia and Mary Rose were quite young.
Yeah.
They were sleeping on the chairs, and so
Yeah.
Kathy and I would take turns being drama mama to make sure they got out on
Yeah.
time.
Wake up.
Yeah, woke up to get out on there.
But now we've even implemented that if a student or if it requires kids like Elf did, that there has to be a parent in the theater with them and not drop off and not because it's college, a lot of people come and go. But I
And
feel that's very important to the stage moms. I think
That's how we did it at St. Bede in third grade. We stayed
Really?
with the kids. That's
Oh.
where that's where I met Leslie Washkowiak. We were drama mommers for years.
Oh yeah, another drama mama, one of the greats. 60 words too.
So in the vein of bizarre things, was there anything, we'll start with Kathy, was there anything along the way with your daughter that you had to think twice and then say, okay, or was everything like, yeah, that sounds good? Or was she lucky enough not to be asked to do anything bizarre except by me?
Well, okay, Don, I'm first going to say you had her shoot 5 people.
Which seemed, in my mind, in my defense, seemed less bad than the word that she had to write. But
I know, right?
I did
But
have
it
her
was
plow
great,
5 people.
she performed so many different, or played in so many different roles that it's an education for her in music and theater.
Mhm.
And if you want to do this, then you're going to have to experience the rough, the crazy, the fun, the Disney, and the serious stuff. So if you
The good,
really
the bad,
want,
the ugly.
yeah. So I let her go. If she wanted to do it, I let her do it.
Yeah.
I think that's
And
what.
back for 100%.
Right.
But don't you think that these kids who were involved in the arts, these were good kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never did I
Yeah.
think when these kids
Yeah.
were, storming my house, never did I think like anything bad was going on. I
Never.
remember one time they had a seance in my basement and they were burning sage.
They must have summoned something.
My husband and I were like,
At least it was hot.
Oh, yes.
I walked
Jeez.
downstairs and I go, Abby, come here. It's sage. I can't believe you would even think that. I'm like, I'm not thinking, I'm just making sure there's a lot of people there.
And your house is still haunted, right? The kids are
Right.
gone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Bonnie, do you think that Abby grew up quicker or just pretty normally by being involved in theater?
I think that theater was a great thing for Abby. I think it helped with public speaking.
Yeah.
She's got involved in leadership programs. She worked for the government. She was, she was in Washington, D.C. I think theater gave her that confidence to go and soar. I do. You know,
I
they were
agree.
all good theater programs.
It gives everybody a platform on so many
Right.
different levels. It really
Right.
does, which is what's heartbreaking now. They're missing the experience, but we'll be back to it one of these days.
Right.
All right, Sangeeta, before you take another drink there, I have to
Cut her off.
I mean, cheers. But how about you? Do you feel there was a big change in your kids as soon as they started doing theater?
Oh yeah, their personalities completely soared after that. It was really good. But what they really learned from, which I was really proud of them, was teamwork, where you had to work well with other people, even if sometimes you didn't get along with them. You actually, it was a group effort, and you had to work with that, and you had to, act and perform with them. And sometimes if you have a heart, but I was really proud of them, like how much they blossomed and their personalities have been so much stronger now. So it's good. I mean, I miss all the singing now, and the dance practices.
Yeah.
I miss all the kids coming over here and then practicing here and going over the routine over and over and over again. Supercalifragilistic was in my head permanently. After
that
that
earworm, you never get rid of. You never get rid of that.
it's never going to. It's stuck in here.
I think, see, my daughter literally grew up backstage, but in the reverse, because that's when we had the dinner theater down in Peoria. And for 20 years, when she was a little kid, people would say, "Oh, are you going to be a singer and a dancer and an actor like your mom and dad?" And she was like, "No." And I didn't want to push her into it, but she was backstage with the performers a lot, and kind of, she was an only child of two only children. The grandmother's an only, David's an only, the kid was, she's an only child from way back. And she more, was backstage, but she had this beautiful voice. She dances like a dream. Now she's a choreographer and she performs in shows and sings and all this stuff, but she was intimidated by mom and dad. But I felt like she matured a little too fast backstage. She, if it was summer, she'd sit through the afternoon matinee and then the evening, and she'd be driving home with me, and she'd say, I was in the dressing room for a while, and I don't think that Sandy's boyfriend really likes her all that much. I think she should change. And I'm like, you're 5. How do you But great eye. Yeah. Pam, your kids were, I have a feeling Adam was always outgoing, right?
Adam was not. You would be surprised. Of all my children, he was the most quiet. When he went out for his first musical at LP, for his freshman year, my husband and I were like, I looked at him like, oh, but I'm like, okay, I'm like, do it. And he'll get ensemble, he'll get his feet wet, he'll get in there. And I remember Christine Edelman texted me and she goes, Adam just knocked it out of the park. And I was at work and I'm like, not that I texted work. And I'm like, oh, that's great, and she's like, yeah, he got the role of Willard. And I'm like, oh, Willard, okay, blah. It was Footloose, just as a side note.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, oh, Willard. I'm like, well, okay, yay. And I kind of dropped it at that. And I thought for a minute, I'm like, wait a minute, he got like a named role? I'm like, who the hell is Willard? So like I had to go and look it up. And I'm like Willard's cool. That's one of the leads. I'm like, he's a freshman who doesn't say boo and what? And I told my husband, like, how is this gonna happen? And I mean, he blew all of us away. I was just like, but then he does, sing a song about his crazy mother, and everybody got a kick out of that. So.
Well, now,
I forgot about that.
The other kids were always very outgoing. I don't know where they get that from. Probably their dad.
I can't imagine. Well, I got to say that Livy, when she was in Gypsy for us, my God, how many years ago was that? 8?
Gosh, she was in 4th grade, so about 7 years ago.
7 years. That sounds about right. And she was so quiet, and she was such a sweet little kid, and she delivered. And that was among the first stuff she really did. And so. And that's kind of a hard character. You're playing the no talent one that, that grows up to be Gypsy Rose Lee. And I remember working with her and she was a little sponge. She just, listened to everything and implemented it. And long after the show, I think we were taking a walk or something, and we see these two little girls walking, and she goes, Don, David, and she just gave me the biggest hug and just was so happy to see. And I'm like, that is such a sweet kid. And then I have watched her just kind of, you know,
Yeah.
bloom.
And then she came back and did one of your Christmas shows as well.
That's right. That's right.
With Karen, which was fun to watch her, get pictures again with Karen, who was Mama in the musical. And that's something too that is really great, I think, about the theater is not only do they in the grade school level, but there is those other opportunities to meet other performers, older performers, whether they be the high school kids, like we needed little ones for Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
So the little ones got to intermingle with these older kids, IVCC, Karen's a big force in our life now. And so it just comes full circle that there's so many opportunities and so many wonderful, extraordinary people to meet.
They're really
and so many opportunities, which is something that I really, that my kids have garnered from not only the theater, but band and choir. It's just the opportunities, whether they be people we bring in from Stage 212. Neil Phelps has a lot of connections in New York. You've got connections to bring in people that are notable. And I know with the choir, we got to go back and see when we saw Jesus Christ Superstar. We met with Michael Cunho, who is Neil Phelps' partner, and and we got to go back, not backstage per se, but we had that whole theater to ourselves and to answer questions. And those are opportunities that would never have been afforded us otherwise. So the arts have always been very special to me.
Right. Me too. I grew up on it. My parents were older when they had me. They were in their 40s, and they loved theater. They loved opera. They loved ballet. They loved rodeo. I mean, they took me to all kinds of experiences, and I just kind of fell into it. We got some messages here. Abby Steinberg just tested negative. It's okay, Mom.
She had to have a COVID test. Thank God she's negative.
Good for you, Abby. Good for you. Stay that way. Wear your mask. Wear your damn mask. And Kyle and Emily, we know them well. Hi to the beautiful stage moms. I love you all. Pam, we made great memories in Greece.
Oh,
I assume Grease the show, not Grease the liquid, but we'll go with
Grease the show. Yeah, we had some wonderful times on there. I was the oldest cast member, obviously, at 45, and it was all high school. And I remember the kids they came in and because obviously with them in musicals and whatnot and band, and they came in, they're like, Mrs. Payton. I'm like, oh, no. I am not, we are now colleagues. You can call me Pam, and I will tell you exactly what I think of you that I didn't. I was always just kidding, but you know what I mean? I'm like, no, you don't have to call me that now because we're not in that connection. Now we are colleagues. So you can call me Pam, and we can do that. And we just had a great time. I mean, it honestly, that show, and to not bring it down any, but that was a show where Matt was struck by the train on the night before opening night.
Yeah.
And we were in shock. We didn't know whether he was going to live. We were all, and I remember that opening. I'm like, it was a decision. Should we, Kathy, I know you were involved with that. Should we go on? Should we not go on? And we're like, the show must go on. And you want to talk about tears. I'm like, how am I going to keep these kids together? Cause I'm like, I'm the adult, and so I just went in there and we just all held hands and we're like, we muddled through and we're going to do it. And that I'm getting teary. That was an extraordinary group of young people. And there's nothing more that gets to me when I hear people say kids today are this, they're worthless. The kids I know, because these people were extraordinary and I leaned on them as much as they leaned on me. And that is what theater is though, which is something I love about it is like, all the drama was gone at that moment when we all came as this to get it done. And it was extraordinary.
There were many tears shed over Matt at the college, as you can imagine.
Many.
And, he would have wanted that show to go on, trust me.
He would have. And there's a lot of stories that I probably can't talk about there. He was just extraordinary. And he is extraordinary. He just survived. He's wonderful. He's doing well back teaching. But there's a lot of stories, can't talk about that. But The thing that they're talking about, though, I will indict myself on this, is I had it was an upper tier portion of it where I was up on the very top, and it was the 50s, so I had this big hoops crinoline skirt thing. I was the principal, and I got up on the top, and I do this really stompy scene, and I twirl and walk off stage left, and I twirled. I twirled and in my stomping and walked off, and I literally fell into one of the guy's arms, and I go, I forgot to wear my crinoline. So I completely flashed the entire audience on opening night. So I think that's what they're referring to. And the reason I do like to tell that story is because when the kids are going, I screwed that up, and I did this and I did that, and I'm like, it happens, and that's what live theater is about. It happens.
And you know what I always say, before we even open, I mean, traditionally we have very large casts. I have people who have done it for 100 years because we involve the community members as well as newbies. And I always say, if you flub a line, I mean, it's unforgettable to go, oh my God, but if you screw up, it's not the end of the world. The world will keep revolving. We will all keep breathing, and the audience will forget it within 20 minutes, and they're not going to be, oh, did you see that kid that flubbed a line? And you have to really drill that into some of these younger people that did that. Somebody mentioned, Kathy, you mentioned stage fright. How many times have we encountered, not anybody's here, but when you were heard, part of a drama mama or stage mom's job a lot of times is, especially if you volunteer, you got to herd a lot of kids, and sometimes that can be like herding cats, because kids, especially the younger ones, it's shiny objects everywhere and an audience and stuff like that. So Kathy,
wrangling.
Kid wrangling. Yes, the technical term for it is that there is a job.
We have like at 212. Yes, we would have the kids upstairs. They would always have to have mom or two moms that would know the show. They would have a script and know when to bring like the ensemble down, and we have your main cast down on in the green room and ready to come out. It's besides the producer and the director, they relied on a lot of us moms.
Oh yeah.
Because you cannot have a show like they did at 212 and at Parkside, which are phenomenal children's shows, unbelievable, and that you would have to have us moms, because there's just too many kids, and we would have up to 60 to 90 kids audition for a summer show that they loved it, and we would only cast like 30 to 35.
Yes.
Wow.
And they would say, well, gosh, I thought you knew me and everything, and it doesn't matter what you know or who you know. It's how talented. There's a lot of talent in the Illinois Valley, and we are so blessed.
We are. There's so much active art around here, not only performing, but the visual arts as well. I mean, we're really blessed to have like NCI Artworks and the Ottawa Art League, and now the Open Space Gallery, and they all welcome performance art as well. And then we, of course, have several community theaters in the area, Mendota, LaSalle, Stage 212, and Engelane, thank you, and River Valley Players. Some people go down there to Henry, which is a jaunt, but do it. So we do have a lot of opportunity, and then a lot of the theaters always do a kids production, in the summer. I have to ask about Parkside. Is that, God, I hope she's not watching, but if I'm right, I hope she is. Is that where Natalie Verucki does the musicals? Hey, Natalie, I paid attention. Natalie played my wife in Elf last season. Love her.
I remember that,
yeah.
Natalie, as a matter of fact, Natalie is one of my stage mom stories. That,
please share.
Was Heart Attack producing.
Okay.
Right before she was going on stage, I don't think it was opening night. It was one of the other nights, and I got there, and it was one of the nights where I wasn't going to do anything. I was just going to watch the show.
That never works.
It never happens.
And she literally 10 minutes before the show, she comes storming into the back room. I don't know if Chad was in there or not. I can't remember. And she goes,
what show are we talking about?
We're talking about Elf.
Oh, okay.
And she goes, I left my pantyhose at home. I left my dark tights. Can you help me? And I'm like, we are in Oglesby. It is 10 minutes. What in the hell do you want me to do? So I'm like, am I wearing dark tights? Okay, no, I'm not wearing dark tights. So I'm like, okay, think. I'm like, I will handle this. I will handle it and I'll get back to you. So I run to Dollar General in Oglesby. I think, okay, this is going to be my only shot. I've got no other time.
Yeah.
So I ran and I'm driving there and I had a perfect parking spot. So I was really mad about that as well. Anyway, so I'm driving and thinking, what am I going to do? Because Dollar General, could she fit in child sizes? Maybe she could fit in child. She's skinny. And then I'm driving like, they're not going to have tights. So I had to get a pair of brown pantyhose and a pair of black pantyhose and so I get into Dollar General. I got my plan of attack. I go there. And of course they don't have tights, but they had the legs. Remember in the egg?
Eggs, yeah.
The legs from like 70 some years ago.
I was gonna say they don't even make those, do they?
They do at Dollar General in Oglesby. So I grabbed up like 3 or 4 of them because I thought she's going to have to layer these to get them opaque. You know, they need to be opaque to be on stage. So I got like 3 or 4 and I get there and I'm like, oh geez, I am making great time. And I get there and the lady, bless her heart, she was so sweet, but she's like, look at these. I haven't seen these since 19. And I'm like, blip, blip, blip. I'm like, let the stage talk, but I gotta go. And I raced back there and got her the legs back in time. So yeah, so Natalie Verucki is one of my heart attack mom stories.
I'll tell you, those runs in the middle of a show or right before a show, when suddenly somebody realizes, oh my gosh, we need this or that. Those are okay. How you do all the math in your head. If I get there in 4 minutes and I'm in there for 2, I know I've had some of the shows.
I had to get hairspray one time. Remember when we did Xanadu at Parkside? Tyler's like, we're out of hairspray. I ran to Walgreens, bought 5 of them. I bought them all because they had to be a specific kind.
Yeah.
I blew up a stoplight and just like went straight there to bring it before opening night. Because we had to do the big hair for Xanadu and yeah. So
and those are the times you get behind somebody in line. I'll write you a check.
I know. I could be an indie, right? I was swerving in and out of traffic trying to make it.
And
What about Christine Edelman? How many days after the show was Tommy born?
probably like 2, wasn't it?
If that.
Because
Was this a student? Is this a student?
No, this was sorry, we're switching.
That would have been worse.
Christine
This is-
Edelman was the director at LP.
Director. She was
Okay.
9, 10, 12 months pregnant. At any time.
Bonnie Steinberg and I are in the back going, okay, which one of us can deliver this baby?
Right.
I had 3, I can do it.
And where was her husband, Pam?
In the pit,
In the pit.
in the pit.
Pam and I, we were delivering the baby.
We were ready. Bonnie, we were
Okay.
ready. That's what stage mom does, to
You're
be ready
boiling water.
for anything. And
It
we
was so stressful.
I must tell you, we had a tech director, Jenna, prior to Matt Boehm when he was with us, and she was pregnant. Well, she was pregnant all the time, it seemed like, but she was really pregnant. And we were doing, I think, a holiday review. Pretty sure it was a fairly easy one. And I was in the booth with her, and somebody had called off, so I had to be in the booth and turn the lights on and stuff like that. And she's sitting there rubbing her stomach, going, "Oh, God." And I looked at her and I said, "So help me, God, you wait until after this show is over before you deliver that baby, because I don't know how the hell to run any of this stuff or the sound or the music or anything like that." I said, "I will never forgive you if you have this baby in the booth. Plus, I've seen that once. I don't need to see it again." And she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm okay." Oh, and I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, 20 minutes left of the show, 20 minutes. And she's starting to make this. I'm like, 20 minutes, Jenna, 20 minutes. Do you want me to call your husband? That night,
Oh, no.
after the show,
Story, Bonnie. That beats ours. We had a
I
couple
feel
of
like-
days.
I think she went home to, I think they lived in Ottawa, I think she went home, they got in the car, they went to the hospital, and Happy New Year. Yeah, so that's scary, man. That's scary. My daughter was my assistant
Yeah.
choreographer on Mamma Mia, and she was like 8 months pregnant, doing all the gyrations and stuff. Let's take a look at some of your pictures, shall we? Let's start with, let's see. How about we start with Sangeeta? How about that? Sangeeta, you game for that?
Okay.
All right. Chad, what do you got for us? All righty.
Oh, that's when we were the concessions and we held that gallon of milk up And Kyle Foley said, nice jugs.
Okay.
Oh,
This is one of the reasons why Alina went in theater was because of Abby.
that's my
And
daughter.
Alina went to try out for Beauty and the Beast. Abby gave her all these tips and pointers, and she happened to get one of the leads. And that was like the biggest thing. I was so happy. And she always constantly texted Abby for advice throughout that whole production.
That's
And then in the left picture is when Abby was the lead in Willy Wonka, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then a couple years later, Alina was the lead in Cat in the Hat. So I adore this. This is one of my favorite pictures ever.
and Bonnie, that's your Abby there?
Yes, that is my.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. What we got next there?
Oh, we are the official drama mamas, aren't we, Pam?
Oh, the officials. And I'll tell you, it was funny because Bonnie's like, oh, you dressed up tonight and Baba. And I'm thinking, yes, because any other time when you're the drama mama, you're wearing not your best clothes because you're going to get makeup on it, puke on it. Somebody's crying. You got to bend down and I've sewed people into costumes. And so you've got to be able to bend. So I'm like, I'm going to dress up so everyone can see that I look pretty sometimes, not all like,
Right. And the filters here don't hurt, Pam. So,
Yes. Yeah.
put it on
We
her.
stayed up way too late one night for this.
well, we all do. That's
Remember.
theater.
Yeah, it was a late night, I think, at practice.
But you both look great. Okay, I think there's a story here. I need to hear it, Sangeeta.
This was during Thoroughly Modern Millie, and the wigs were phenomenal.
Oh,
So we
phenomenal.
created it, but it looks like Pam should be in Dynasty in the 80s. You know what I mean? With that hair, I look like the Indian version of I Love Lucy right here.
Yeah, Pam, I can see you in Dynasty.
Yeah,
You'd slap a bitch. That would happen.
in a heartbeat. And now I miss my lip gloss.
Yeah, when there was too many drama mamas in the theater and nobody wanted our help, that was our look that we gave.
Oh, who is this? And who is this drama mama with you?
This is my friend Nikki, and her daughter was in I think it was Xanadu at that time? It was Xanadu, and nobody really needed our help, so we were just kind of hanging out like, boy, nobody trusts us with makeup.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, there's a story here too.
Yeah, we needed to start drinking after that. I can't remember what, but we all gathered up and only had one bottle to share, so we only casually sipped that.
Yeah, pass it around. That was pre-COVID. You didn't need a glass.
Yeah, we didn't need that glass. We just took it out of the jug. Yeah, nobody trusted me and with makeup again, so we just decided to give each other makeovers.
So that's actually you on the right, and she's on the left.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's me and Kathy.
Right. Right.
I love
And
this picture.
That's
It was the last night, and we were happy it was over.
Yeah. I know those last nights are a mixed emotion.
Yeah, we always have a good time, me and Kath, on there, especially when I was doing concessions.
Always fun. Always fun.
Always fun. We needed a drink after one of the nights, so we went to Social Kitchen after that.
Okay.
Good,
If you've worked concessions, you probably know my good friend Marianne Enenbach. She does that.
Oh.
Yes, yeah, my neighbor.
Yes, across the street over. I know. We were over there today, actually.
I got a funny story with concessions. One time I was doing concessions, and they had that tip jar, you know what I mean? And it had a couple of dollars in it. And there was a guy that came up, and then the son was with him, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, what's that?" He goes, "Well, son, that's a tip jar. If she does a good job, then you put money in it, to tell her she did a good job." And he's like, "Why would anybody give her money? She's just standing there." So I was cleaning the counters after that,
Wow.
pretending like I was busy, and I still didn't get a tip.
Oh man. Don't they realize that that's part of the gig there when you're volunteering? I mean,
Thank you.
the thing to remember here is, I hope this doesn't sound arrogant, but I think I'm the only person pretty much in the area who's done this for a living my whole life. Everybody else volunteers. I mean, these women that you see here and all those people backstage, it's like you give up. All right, well, at LP, how many months do you rehearse? 3?
At
Well,
least 3 or 4.
three or four.
And the thing is, I remember days where, most of us are working full time.
Right.
So I'd pack my dinner before I left for work, and literally come right from work, pick up Olivia and go right to rehearsals and start in on there. So the ladies that you see here and the dads, like I have a picture of my dads in there too, because
Oh,
the
yeah.
dads build the sets and,
Yeah.
and you can't do it without all of these people. And there's just so much intrinsic work that goes on in the background. Between labeling costumes and fitting people and measuring people. And literally I've had kids run off stage and I've got to sew them into their costume because something ripped or, so there's a lot that goes on, and these people are just volunteering their time. Not to mention, a lot of us, like Bonnie mentioned, I had band, and I have literally brought my children home, packed their bags, and we have gotten on the bus to go on tour the very next day. So we've got other things in the background running through there too. So, that's why, these ladies, I know that they're my ride and die. I can call in any drama mama and.
Well, they're the posse. They're
Yeah.
the posse.
Yeah.
I know.
And
You got to do a little bit of everything. I know, chaperone the whole bit. Kathy, let's go to you. You sent us some pictures here. Oh, and before we go further with the pictures, I have to tell our audience that I did ask. Of course, we wanted to send wonderful pictures of the cast and stuff. We do that every week. We're always showing you show pictures of everybody. So we asked for a lot of backstage stuff. So if you're wondering, well, where are the kids? Tonight's about the drama mamas because they deserve it. The kids have already gotten all their, yay, you're wonderful. Okay, so Kathy, you showed, we got some pictures from you too. All righty.
Aw,
Mary,
Oh, that's-
kitty.
Mary Rose's first show.
Which was,
Down at
which was,
12.
And-
That's when I started my drama mama.
oh, and
What
was
show
the
was
name?
that, Kathy?
That was Willie Wonka
Oh, Willy Wonka. Okay.
at 212.
She's very little there. Yeah.
Yes, very. And this is the second show that she was in, was Mulan. And she was with,
Oh my God.
her Christmas tree that she got to decorate ever in her entire life.
Ever. Come on.
Come on.
No, I'm Jewish. I've never
Well, I
decorated
know.
a Christmas tree.
But what about aren't you associated with Steinberg's Furniture? Isn't that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't have
You don't.
We don't do any Christmas.
You don't? Oh, okay.
No, nothing.
So
That's
we
cool.
did the
So-
best Christmas pageant ever.
So that's the first for you.
Decorate the tree.
I'm delighted. Okay, and this is from, I'm sorry, Kathy. So this is from First Christmas Pageant Ever?
The Christmas tree, yeah.
This picture we're looking at is not though, right?
No, this is not. This is Hello Dolly. I'm still
Oh.
behind stage, even though she doesn't need me anymore.
Well.
I don't get to
He
do many.
does. They all need us.
I and started being a drama mama, and then ended up being now a producer.
Oh,
So I produced a couple shows down at Stage 212, and now I'm producing at LP,
cool.
and it is phenomenal. It's
I don't
just-
know what this show is that we're looking at.
This was Little Mermaid.
yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh,
And there's
that's right.
Olivia right next to Kathy there in the orange.
Oh, yeah. There's Libby. Okay. I didn't know you guys did little bit.
Look at us two goofballs
God only knows what we were doing.
taking measurements.
Oh, we were taking measurements. That's right.
Of each other?
Costumes, Dawn. Costumes.
No,
Now-
thank you.
Do you know what? As a director, now David is the David that keeps coming up here is Dr. David Keister, who produces our shows and does costumes for our shows and runs the theater department out there and all that other stuff. I'm just the song and dance guy. I'm the director, choreographer. But whenever we have shows that require costumes and somebody has to measure for costumes, as a director, I'm like, I'm a 5-year-old at the bank. I'm like, shouldn't this be going faster? So I have learned now, especially when a customer says, I'll just catch them during rehearsal. No, that doesn't work because they miss cues and everything else. So now I've learned to remove myself from those situations and, just let them have their costume measuring that because that makes me nuts.
Believe
Sorry,
me, we
Kathy?
don't want to do it any more than you do.
I know, it's a pain, but and then the costumes come in and they need adjustments. Yeah, I
Like when
love
the costumes come in, it's not so bad. I mean, you are working in a whole different level, but when you're working with grade school children that are just kind of exploring deodorant and high school kids that don't remember to put on deodorant, you're in a whole new level. You're on a
Isn't that
whole new
nuts?
level.
Isn't that nuts? Because even at the college, it's not like they're coming from PE class. That's high school
Right.
where you go
Right.
from PE to, biology or whatever. But at the college, they're running around and stuff. And it's like, okay, we're going to have a hygiene talk here. For
Yeah.
those of you that are 50, 60 years old, you probably don't need it. But guys, the more cologne you wear does not negate the fact that everybody's going, oh.
Try cleaning them after the whole show, that whole week of performances.
I know. At the dinner theater, we did 12 shows a week, and our dry clean, Sangita, you would have loved being our dry cleaner down there. Loved us. I mean, twice a week. Here comes the costumes. He's in set too. So, all right, Bonnie, let's take a look at some of your pictures, shall we? Chad's getting them all prepped there, and you tell me the story on these.
Oh,
I don't even
What's
know
the
where
show?
this came from. I just know it's all the theater kids.
Uh-huh.
Maybe Abby can tell me. But I mean,
Is this Joseph?
that looks like.
It was a choir thing.
oh, that was
Oh,
a
a choir.
choir thing. Okay, I just, I mean, that's all our kids.
Oh, okay. I thought I recognized a couple in there from.
This was from Bye Bye Birdie. These 4 girls for the 4 years in high school, they took this picture every year. And you know
Really?
what? I think it's the memories that these kids they made together.
Mhm.
They might have had a fight in high school or didn't talk to this one or this, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Rachel just moved and Abby talked to her. It doesn't matter what happened in the past now that they're
No,
4 years out of high school or 3
I
years.
know. It's such a bonding experience. The
Yeah.
cast, well, I remember everybody's like, "Oh, we're gonna be best friends forever. We're gonna be," and
Right,
you try, damn, you try.
Right.
And all right,
It's from Bye Bye
Grease,
Birdie.
Birdie. Okay, oh yeah. There's Reed.
Isn't he cute?
Yeah, he looks exactly the same now.
Hey, that's Reed.
And that's Reed next to
That's
Josh.
Reed.
That's Reed.
Okay, and this is a
in
cast.
my
Right?
backyard after a show.
All
They would all congregate at my house. I mean, I have hundreds of these pictures of these kids after a show. They would all, yep.
Now I recognize the young lady front right. That's Perla Escatel. She has worked at the college on many of our shows.
Right. I mean, Allison Washkoe, they've all, Josh, Olivia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and there's Reed. Okay.
And that's in my living room. And they were for the Tonys party. These kids love theater so much, they all got together for the Tonys
Yep.
every year.
We hosted a big Tony's party last year at the college on stage,
Kathy, what do you-
projected onto the big screen, and we were going to do it again this year, but well, there were no Tonys either. So.
Right. Wasn't
This is a
anything.
picture from a theater camp where Abby was the staff, I guess you could say, and Mary Rose was just starting out. And I mean, they were little, they were young.
Yeah.
There was a bond.
And what show is this?
That's
Footloose.
Adam. Remember that, Pam?
Oh, I do.
That was from Footloose. And
Adam's bottom right.
Adam.
yeah, that's
right.
when Adam was Willard.
Mm-hmm.
But the girls, those 4 girls took that same picture every year, and then the boys had to get in, but that's okay.
That's fun. That's
Yeah.
fun. Okay, and this
Again,
looks like
The same,
backstage.
yeah.
Huh.
I mean, Adam was how old there?
Adam was 14.
Okay. I mean, they were young, but it was the same group and they were
Yeah.
good kids. You didn't have to
Good
worry about it.
kids.
Yeah. Oh, those are great. I saw, excuse me, I saw a meme or something that said, "Forget coffee. I want to get what theater kids have at 8 a.m. I remember the theater. Yeah, I wasn't really a theater kid in high school because I was already working. And but I think I did 2 shows. But the kids are just like, well, Wired is a great place if you got ADD. But it's fun. Fine. I was never crazy. I was never nuts like that. I grew up. The joke was I was born with a coffee cup in one hand, a cigarette in the other, and a mustache. So, like I said, my parents were older. I was just in an adult world. Those are fun. I know the cast parties and the kids bonding is something to really behold, and that never stops. Every cast bonds somewhat. I think as it's like even the professional places that I've worked, the cast bonds, but when you're older and you're going on to the next gig and stuff, you kind of lose touch a little more. But I think the formative ones are the ones you do in high school, in grade school, and that's where you really you meet your clan, your tribe. Wow, those kids stay in touch.
All these kids have more moms than just one.
Kind of.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that is, I think too, that Bonnie, when you say that is a role that the drama mama has, is because you are the mom to not only the children, and honest to God, you love it. Even the ones that could be little pita pockets, you love them dearly, just like your own.
And everyone calls you mom backstage.
I'm sorry.
Everyone calls you mom backstage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're the mom to the pit crew. You're the mom to the cast. You're the mom to the director. I mean, there's times the director's going, I don't know how this is going to happen. I'm like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're the cheerleader. You're the rock. I mean, there's many times it is. And you, even when you're sitting there in the audience, during a rehearsal going, oh, I don't know how this shite show is ever coming together, but oh God. And then, and every single time, it shines. And so, you have to sit there and they go, what did you think? And you're like, that was fabulous. And you're like, oh heavens.
As your nose grows. I know. As a director, I'm usually open to criticism. I mean, it's like if somebody says, I don't really like this. And I'm like, well, let me see what I can do with it and stuff. But I like getting the input. I really do. But I find most people are afraid of me. So I'm so threatening.
Not me.
Well, I haven't made you cry. I don't make people cry. That's just a gag, a joke. All right.
I almost feel like that's a challenge, Don.
There might be a little truth to it, but that was 100 years ago when somebody just, and it's like, oh my God, Don made that person cry. This was at my dinner theater, and I never lost my temper, but this one, I was very displeased with something, and I expressed myself, and I didn't know they went off and cried afterwards, and I felt awful. But then I had this one young lady that was very funny, and she's like, you'll never make me cry. And I said, I bet I can make you cry. And I got this reputation, Don will make you cry. So I'm like, couldn't hurt me. All right.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. All righty. Pamela, we have pictures from you.
Really? And you're trying to pigeonhole me into 10 pictures, Don?
Into what?
You're trying to pigeonhole me into 10 pictures. These were the wigs.
These are the wigs.
I tried on every single blasted one of those wigs, and I cannot find those pictures. But we had a blast because I don't know if you know Tyler Revelio, but he was like, whatever you do, don't touch my wigs. And
I know, right?
I will not touch those. I tried on every single one of those wigs. And I was like, oh, selfie here, selfie there. And I got Songi involved because I needed a partner in crime and it would go down by myself. But this also was, I don't know if anybody watches The Walking Dead.
Used to.
There was a part where they had killed some people and put their heads on spikes, and that's what I was doing right there. Was like, I feel like I'm in The Walking Dead right now. But also
That's my favorite.
This was when Adam John was Edna in Hairspray. And I said, what could I possibly do to embarrass my child? So after the show wrapped up one night, Tyler helped me get the wig on and the dress. No fat suit required, unfortunately. And then I came out of the can playing I'm Coming Out by Donna Summer. And I came out of the can. And so then we did a side by side of who wore it best. And of course, he did. So
Of course,
there's
of
that.
course. That wig thing you showed me there earlier, was that this show? Was that Hairspray?
No, that was Thoroughly
Thoroughly
Modern
Modern Millie. Ha! I was right again, because when Chad and I were going through those, I looked at the Oh, So Sad to Be Alone. They're on the right. That was Mrs. Meek Mir,
Mhm.
the kidnapper's wig. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so this,
Now I have to ask you, this is Adam again. Now, did he just have an affinity for wearing the fat suit after that and boobs? Or is
let me
this,
tell you, the stories with these things. So there's a story behind this. So I would always sit in the back community room, which had open windows. We didn't have any shades on them at the time. And the kids would just do costume changes. They always had like what are those, like Under Armour? They always had clothes on. If they had to change where they actually had to get down to their underwear and skivvies, they'd go into the bathroom. But in the community room is where we did the makeup and the wigs and just quick changes over. Well, he always had this fat suit on, and it was the middle of February-ish, and it was just so blastedly hot. He would just be sweating. We'd have fans going on. We'd have to take his costume off so we could try and cool off. Well, I went to the restroom, and Christine Edelman ended up calling me quickly, and she goes, Steve Wroblewski just called me and said somebody is naked in the changing room. What's going on? And I'm like, I just left for 5 minutes to go to the bathroom. I ran down there, and I'm like, I leave here for 5 minutes and someone's naked. I'm like, who is naked? And I'm like, oh, my kid. I'm like, it was just him in a fat suit. Some lady's like, we can see a naked girl in the window. And it was just him in his fat suit. And they ended up burning that fat suit at the cast party.
well, yeah. I've had a couple costumes like that.
This is Adam in right before the last performance on the LP stage as Shrek, and which is part of the beauty of being a drama mom, is to catch moments like that.
Those moments. I recognize this. That's LP,
this
right?
was- Yeah, this was LP costume when we got the costumes in for the Wizard of Oz this year, which we never ended up doing. But this is just to show you, like, some of it, we have to start spreading these out according to the children and who's on what and what costume goes where, and just part of the chaos of the background there.
Right.
And this is just some of the shenanigans when you sit through endless rehearsals, because as a drama mama, like the girls were saying, you have to know when someone's cue is so that you know who to push on stage, when, what, where, and how. So you sit through endless rehearsals of and there's of course my daughter, the arrow's pointing to her, screwing around, and
Right.
so it's just just a lot of backstage. This is the green room at 212 for White Christmas that year.
Oh, okay.
And if you look, like, part of being the drama mama is make sure there's food. You got to make sure the kids have food. There's Andrew back there. You have to make sure that there's food.
Uh-oh.
That there's waters, that everyone's eating, and it isn't all just candy and sugar.
Yeah.
So and there's Adam, and
Dr.
I put on there,
Shrek.
he's really happy. He's a method actor. The Shrek, I have a funny story for the Shrek. It was another fat suit, but it had an ice pack that you could put around it. So we would pack him in ice every night to try and keep him cool. Well, this Shrek shirt had been worn by about 1,000 people. And so I took it home. It smelled so bad. You have no idea. I don't know if anyone, Kathy, if you remember how badly that thing smelled. It was like a dead body. And I took it home one night and I said, I'm going to wash it. He just simply can't wear it another night. So I'm in the tub at 1 o'clock in the morning in the bathtub, hand washing this giant fat suit that was, obviously it's foam, not thinking this foam's going to expand. So here I am, the water is brown. I'm pulling the suit out, trying to wring it out. I'm trying to lift it up over my bathtub, and going back, I fall backwards with this wet suit falling on top of me. Dragging this smelly thing, because it smells better, but not the best. I'm dragging it through. I'm thinking, I'm going to hang it up outside on the railing. But as I mentioned, it's February, March-ish. And so I got up about 3 o'clock and I'm like, oh God, it's got ice on it. I drag it back in the house and I hang it over one of our heating vents, hoping that would help dry it. My husband wakes me up at 6 o'clock in the morning and he goes, are all the cats accounted for? And I'm like, yeah, why? And he goes, there's a dead body or something in the house. Something's dead in the house. And I'm like, no, it's the fat suit. The heater blew that stank out through the house. So that's
Oh,
part of it.
nice.
And this is
Nice.
gluing his cowl on before we.
So was this your job every night to do
That was
the
my job every
prosthetics?
night. I did the makeup almost for everybody except the donkey. And well, Dina did she did his green makeup, but I did everybody else's, and it was a lot of fun. I loved that year. It was my favorite. This is Max Wertz. This was at 212 during the New Year's Eve show. And if you can see the steam coming off of him right now, that's Max and Olivia. And I had, Olivia says to me, I think I'm gonna pass out. I'm like, of course you're gonna pass out. So I take her into the bathroom and we take the heads off her and Max because they were so sweaty. And a little kid, of course, opens the door and starts screaming. And I'm like, ah, sorry. I took them outside where they would steam off and so that no kids would see them. So part of being a drama mama too is the passing out stuff. These are our backstage people. There's Kathy when we were actually making uniforms for Joseph. That's Mary Black and Nancy Reinhardt. And then those are our drama dads that are building our set. There's just so much that goes on behind the scenes that no one even has an inkling to unless you're involved in it.
We're gonna do a show with the folks who build and prop and all
nice.
that stuff coming up here because it's fascinating from design to concept to design to the construction. It's a lot of work, and
Absolutely.
those
And
people
this
put
is-
in long, sweaty hours doing that. Yes.
This was LP. This is Andrew. Andrew's the tall one in the middle there. This was the LP musical, Once Upon a Mattress. And there's Adam on the bottom corner one. And this was one of the fundraisers we did. One was a tag day, we did a couple tag days. And then the other was, we did a Princess Tea Party where we sold tickets to a Princess Tea Party. So once again, Bonnie was very integral in a lot of the fundraising. That was Bonnie's job too, is to do fundraising and the advertisements and getting the flyers out.
And
this
that
is-
was the Buckland crossing with 11th Street,
Yes.
which is also shooting park.
Which is
You know,
my favorite.
You realize that's half a block
my
from my
favorite too,
house.
Sam.
And what's funny about that one too is I literally left that tag day, worked that tag day all morning, then went over to Parkside and we were striking the set for Xanadu. So it was just a whirlwind day that day too. This is just a collection of pictures of the kids, and there's Natalie and Christine, and there's Alina and Olivia.
Oh, there's
And-
Natalie.
Yeah, and so then, there's the Shrek, my Shrek kids on the bottom, and they tagged my car. They came over one night and tagged my car with glitter and Glitter Mama. So, that was fun. It's fun to be in their lives. I also there's a couple backstagey ones. There's me in Greece on the bottom. And the ones with Shrek, which I like with Adam, is just how integral these little kids, how he would interact with them. And that's not just his. I mean, there were, Reed was Lord Farquaad, and they ate that up too. If you just look at their little expressions, and I'm thinking, yes, little future stage kids. So it's just such a beautiful thing.
Pam,
Here's
did that start at Parkside? Remember we used to have the oh gosh, like for Fiddler on the Roof, we had a lunch. Remember that? We used to have a tea party for as a fundraiser. That
Yeah.
started at Parkside.
Yeah.
I was going to
We did
ask
all
you about
kinds of things.
fundraisers because I actually have that on my little list here. I have that fundraising is a
Oh,
big deal. Now
Big
at the
deal.
college, we don't, we're not allowed to do that, of course, because we have so many scholarship donators and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the high school relies on fundraising, and that too falls to the stage moms.
Stage moms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonnie, are you the queen of that? Do you-
Bonnie is the queen of fundraising.
the lobby. If I were selling raffle tickets, people would just know. Come here. Oh no. Yeah, we did raffle tickets, we sold flowers, tag days.
Crazy work goes into all that. And Bonnie, honestly, kudos to you, because Bonnie's always been very generous, even with the band and choir. Steinberg's usually donates a piece of furniture for us to raffle. And so Bonnie's been a huge supporter of the arts and huge in the fundraising. And and going out there. And you need people like that. You need people that have a personality that can go out and sell, because
Well,
that's
thank
you know,
you.
what we're doing. I've always appreciated
Well,
that.
and you know what? It's very important. I mean, it was very important. And even in raising my kids, that they went to shows and, did all that, because I think that's important. And that's one of the things that COVID has stolen from us.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Okay, so speaking of which, what do you miss more, working on a show or going to see them? Kathy?
working on the show. We were
Sangeeta?
1 week before opening night for Wizard of Oz at LP,
Oh.
and we had to shut down.
We were doing Legally Blonde.
You were doing Legally Blonde. It
Yeah.
was just heartbreaking for our seniors
Yep.
who won't be back to do another LP show. Heartbreaking for everybody involved. We had little kids, we had munchkins, and it's just devastating.
That
It was,
broke
yeah,
everybody's.
I agree with that. I would say working on the show. There is just something so absolutely magical about being a part of bringing this together, and to watch your children eat, whether they're your 25-year-old child up there on Legally Blonde or Mamma Mia, or it's your fourth grader, to be a part of bringing all of this and to know that sense of accomplishment that you were a part of it.
Right. Well, I think that what I miss about theater, well, of course, doing it is, very, what I do, but I miss going to it. I miss the communal experience of sitting with a bunch of people, really enjoying something terrific. I mean, we're kind of robbed of that, and I think we are going to be for a while. I don't care how many
I know.
experiments
Yeah.
there are. I'm not willing to conduct that experiment myself. We may have 600 seats, but we also have a lobby. We also, there's restrooms. You got to think all that stuff through. Plus, you got your cast. How do you socially distance the cast? And,
Right.
I think it's foolish at this time to even think through it until we get a little more
Yeah.
direction on the whole thing. All right, now everything's wonderful. We love the kids. We love doing the shows, blah, 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 blah. Sangeeta, there's got to be one little job that a drama mama does that you would rather pass off to somebody else. What is it?
You know what? And I'll be honest with you, like everyone does not want to do wrangling at all.
Yeah.
They don't want to do wrangling, right? Everyone told me when I first started to do this, do concessions, do like ushering, like hand out the programs, do not do wrangling, right? So I was late in the game when you sign up for everything. So I'm like, oh shoot, wrangling, I guess I'll do that, right? So I did it. And the first time I did it, I was so scared because I wanted everyone to hit their mark, how to do that, how to do this. Over time, I actually got used to it. Then I started bringing food into it. And then I'd bring trays and trays of food. And then my daughter, Alina, would be like, how can we eat better here than we eat at home? And then Reed would start yelling because he was the director at, what was it, Mary Poppins? Was it Mary Poppins? Yeah. And he was like yelling, like, stop, everybody stop eating grapes before you get on stage, because everyone's just shoving grapes in their mouth before they go on stage. But I they just told me all of that, just like wrangling. But then as I wrangled more,
Right.
I actually liked it because I got to yell at people's kids that weren't even mine. You know? And some of them listen to me, but most of them always listen to Kathy, but nobody listen. After a while they did like me and listen to me. But yeah, they said wrangling was the worst, but I liked it.
When you're wrangling too, like you've got maybe 10 little fourth graders on the dock ready to go on, and you're trying to keep these little children like, hey, we're right here on the stage.
Yeah.
It is, I'm telling you, it is a challenge. Wrangling, I would say, would be one of the things I hate. I will wash cars, I'll wash the damn bathrooms, I will do everything, but the wrangling is like, oh. But
Bonnie, you are shaking your head.
Because I'll tell you, I did not like wrangling. I had a snap. I had a snap that I would snap my fingers and they knew, stop.
Yeah.
So I stopped wrangling after junior high. I was like, but I think when everyone looks back on, because Abby's been out for 3 years. When I look back on that time, I think about, what good times there was, the camaraderie, the friendships that I will have forever now
It's like war buddies. You know, you've
Yeah.
gone through some, you've seen stuff. I mean, we've all, you know, seen.
Well, and you know, case in point, when you asked me to, you know, contact these guys, and Bonnie, I can't remember the last time I saw you, probably when we bought the furniture for the living room. I hadn't seen Bonnie in years, and I called her up and they said, "Oh, may I ask who's calling?" And I, you know, gave my name, and Bonnie picks up the phone and she was like, well, what do I owe this pleasure to? And I'm like, I need a favor. And she's like, of course you do.
Uh,
So, you know, you're just like right back into just the way, you know.
Right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
right. Well, I have a question now. Now that your kids, I know Pam, I think you were the only one that said you were even involved a little bit in theater. Now that your kids have been involved and they're going along, Kathy, if she said, "Mom, I want you to audition for a show," I think you, and there was a part that you thought you could handle, would you do it?
Mary Rose did not ask me to do that.
But if she would, if a director you really respect,
I would do it. I would do it.
Okay. How about you, Sangeeta?
My kids have they made me promise.
Oh, your voice went out.
I lost your sound.
We lost your audio.
We lost your sound, Sangeeta.
Can't hear you, Sangi. This could
She's
be a
doing
blessing
mime.
in disguise. This could be a blessing in
doing
disguise, you
mime.
guys.
Bonnie, how
Stole
about
my
you?
crown.
How
You know
about
what?
you?
I'm going to tell you, I miss watching Abby. I
Right.
miss, you know, watching her do something. I mean, I remember a time where my mother was very sick and it was a
Right.
horrible day, and it was parent night for Once on This Island at Stage 212. And I was in a very bad state of mind. My mother was very sick. And I sat down in the theater and I watched this show. And I remember leaving the theater so happy because, first of all, my kid thoroughly loved it, thoroughly had a great time. And she was with all these wonderful kids from wonderful families. It was her first show at 212. And it was just such a wonderful thing. It was seriously, it was like turning on a light. Okay, you know what? Things are going to be fine because I just saw this amazing show with these amazing.
I know, and that's what theater is. It provides escapism. Sangeeta, can you just say hello? We lost your mic when you were talking before.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
There you are. Yeah, we didn't hear
Okay.
anything of what you said there.
Oh, okay. About like if I were to try
Yeah.
out or anything like that.
Yeah, because
No,
I'm interested in this.
My name means music in Hindi, but I am not allowed to sing at all because apparently I'm tone deaf. So, so I don't think I'll be able to try out for anything. I don't know if they would like me to be up there. You know, I think I'm best to be behind the stages and hanging out, wrangling,
And in
and
the audience.
handing out milk
eventually.
carrying concessions.
Yeah. See, with Pam, I know the answer. When we were doing Mamma Mia, she was auditioning for me every time I ran into her. I could play this, I could play that, but I.
Well,
gonna
Pam
put-
and I tried and it didn't work.
I know we were snubbed, Bonnie, and I never recovered from that, and I have not tried out since.
I know, me neither.
Well, Bonnie, just like the crown that Sangeeta actually won, Pam lost the part in Mamma Mia. Bad attitude.
I know. I'm a diva, Don. What can I say? I almost put up that picture. I have that picture of me kissing you, saying I'm like something like cozy enough to the director to get a part in Mamma Mia.
That's right. That's right. And God love you used filters on me, so I didn't look, 80 years.
That was for me. That wasn't for you. As much as I love you. That's the thing. Like I didn't want to upstage Emily, so I backed off. I didn't go.
Of course. Real quick, favorite show you've been involved with?
Oh,
I'll start with Kathy.
Oh,
Get me right now. Favorite show?
Like this one. that
Just
You love
all of
going.
them amazing.
If
yeah.
you had to pick one.
I guess I think it would have to be at LP because I started
Okay.
producing there.
Right.
Shrek and Thoroughly Modern Millie. Thoroughly Modern Millie. I got to see my kid do amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And I was a producer of that, and I was a producer of Shrek.
Right.
So that was fun.
Sangeeta, how about you?
I think with Alina, I think it was honestly, Seussical the Musical, where she had the lead as the cat and the Cat in the Hat, and just she lit up the stage. I was so proud of her with that.
And you never
And-
got tired of watching it.
No, it was so good. It was such a cute musical. And with Jaden, honestly, it was, I think, Edwina, because it was so much fun for him to be up there, Dear Edwina and all that. I don't know. I really like that. I really enjoyed watching Thoroughly Modern Millie, though. That was a really good musical.
Bonnie, how about you? Favorite one that you've been involved
I
with?
would have to say, and this is a hard one, but because Once on This Island has my heart, but I would have to say, when Abby was in 7th grade, they did Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh,
She got a lead at the time as one of the sisters. She was Chava. And we had to move her bat mitzvah because she got a part in the show. We had to move, 250 people.
Oh
We
my
had to move the date because she got, the part. And
have a
she was
question.
adorable.
Bonnie, I just want to interrupt there because you've got a really funny story about
I
Fiddler
was
on
just
the Roof.
gonna say,
Oh my God, the Fiddler on the,
Please share. Please share.
should I not use his name?
Don't
Pam?
use his name, but it's still funny.
It's
Well, I have
funny.
two
So
stories. The first one is when we did the little lunch for it, we did matzo ball soup. And Susan Glassman and I made matzo balls by hand, like 200 matzo balls, and then he put it in vegetable soup. It was supposed to be in chicken soup.
It
And
only goes in chicken soup.
I walk up to Susan, I go, he put the matzo balls in the fucking vegetable soup. Does he not know this? And she's like, Bonnie, calm down. And I was like, I had lost it. But then during rehearsal one day, he was pronouncing words wrong, the director. And I kept saying, Tom, it's Anatevka.
Yeah.
No, it's Anatievka. I'm like, no. How are you telling me? How are you telling me? This is my heritage. This is my culture. You cannot tell a Jewish mother this. I swear. Yeah.
I like that. That's fun.
Yeah. So that's why I started being in front of the house because I had too big of a mouth.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Well, ladies, you have been so much fun. I just have to ask you, did you watch Dance Moms?
No.
When it was on?
Oh,
They don't compare to us.
No, they don't. But
They
they
are
are
weak.
dance moms because we had a dance studio with our performing arts things, and those dance moms with those competition teams, they're not fun. That
No.
was Victoria, they weren't. Yeah,
No,
My
what we
daughter-
did was fun. What we did was fun.
I know theater is a lot more fun because it's competitive, with the auditions. But past that, it's not everybody's pulling for the same thing. So
Yeah.
yeah. But I was addicted to dance moms because they were so over the top, and it's like, oh, that Abby's such a bitch. And, you never saw us, so you don't know what I'm talking about.
But the amazing about what we have as drama mamas
Mhm.
is that Bonnie's daughter is going to be a senior in college.
Right.
Mary is a sophomore in college. Sangeeta has 2 kids in high school. Pam, you've got 3 that expand, and we're all good friends.
Right.
We're all very, very good friends. And there's so many other moms out there that I love dearly. And
Right.
I'm down to this town and I did not know anybody, but I have the best friends down here. I really,
Isn't
really,
that great?
it brought everyone together, and I love that.
yes.
That's what theater does. It bonds people, and
Absolutely.
some people that you wouldn't think you'd be friends with, you end up.
I know, like Pam.
Yeah, I
She's kind of odd, but we'll take her.
I'll keep her.
She's so ostentatious. Oh my God, with the glitter enough.
Yeah. The glitter. Well, listen, I want to thank every one of you for being with me tonight.
Thank you for
on the
asking.
IVC.
Thank you for having
Hey,
us.
my pleasure. And we're going to have more stage moms and drama mamas and stage dads on coming up because they're everywhere. I mean, you think about all the theater around here, the kids theater, the dance studios. This behind the scenes work is tough, and I
Yeah.
don't. And the thing is, not everybody goes, my kid's going to be a star. No, I mean, I don't think that's
Oh.
the thinking with anything.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's like my kid is getting a great real world education around
Right, you know
creative,
what? My kid's learning to be independent. My
right?
kid's learning to be able to speak in front of large groups of people. They're
Time
being
management.
creative.
They have to know how to work. These kids are working. They're top scholars, the vast majority of them.
Absolutely.
It is all they learn how to manage their time. If they want to be in this production, this is what you need to do. And like I said, a lot of them are doing band and choir and other extracurricular things as well.
Now
Right.
at LP, just real quickly, at LP, they have to keep their grade average up in order to
Yep.
participate, right?
Yep.
Yeah, well, whatever incentive it takes, right?
Right.
You have all
You
been
have to brag
delightful.
about 'em.
Terrific.
Yes,
Thank
it's
you.
fun. It's fun. You've all been delightful. Don't go anywhere. Chad's gonna black you all out here as we say goodnight here. But ladies, thank you so much. Well,
I
Thank
miss you
you.
all. I miss you all.
Hey, miss you, love you all.
You.
what a fun show. What a very fun show. Oh, he took me up. Bonnie, you wrap it up. There you go.
Everybody, thank you for coming. This was fabulous.
That's all right. I just got a message and I didn't start my video. Thank you, Chad. What a fun show. I appreciate all of them joining us and sharing the stories and the laughs and the memories and all that. Remember, we do this every Sunday night. These shows are available to watch even after the fact. So you can share them and spread the word that we do this every Sunday. If you have any ideas for somebody you think would be a great guest, whether they be involved with theater, dance, the visual arts, anything at all that keeps the arts flag in the air during this uncertain time, which is all things come to an end. So eventually we'll be back to doing what we love. But for now, this is how we're doing it virtually. So stay tuned. Next week, I've got some surprise things coming up, and watch our IVCC Fine Arts page because there's going to be an announcement of auditions coming up. Yes, you heard that right. Auditions. I'll tell you more about that later. So thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be seeing you on stage sooner rather than later. So from all of us at IVCC Fine Arts, good night. Clear? We're clear.